About 2 weeks ago now, an official Minecraft server list was released. Almost immediately there was drama, as not only did this list contain a variety of pay-to-win servers, but also many servers containing dangerous gambling mechanics. Why would an official Microsoft-endorsed server list, clearly designed to be family and kid-friendly, promote such servers? Who is and isn't going to be allowed on the server list? And will servers be forced to enable chat reporting? Well, we ended up having a lengthy 2-hour conversation with some of the website's creators and learnt quite a lot of what goes on behind the scenes. But first, let me give you a rundown on what exactly the server list is and how it works. For over a decade now, one of the main ways Minecraft servers advertise themselves and players find Minecraft servers to join is through online server lists. There exist dozens of these server lists today, and now it seems Microsoft has enlisted the help of a company called GamerSafer to create an official Microsoft-endorsed server list. On the official server list, you can find a variety of servers for Bedrock and Java, but look a little closer and you'll start to see why there was some drama. We'll use ManaCube as an example here, one of the more popular servers on the list, getting a few hundred players daily. If we go to their server store, you'll see they've got some pretty pricey ranks which offer a load of perks, many giving paying players an advantage and being considered pay to win. These servers shouldn't be allowed as they are against Minecraft's commercial usage guidelines, right? Well, that's where you are wrong. As we've discussed in the past, in the guidelines here it says that you are allowed to sell entitlements that affect gameplay provided they do not offer a competitive advantage. And the reason these servers are allowed to continue selling entitlements that affect gameplay is because they aren't considered competitive. These guidelines are quite vague, so rather than work forwards using them as a guide for what is and isn't allowed, we have to work backwards and look at why servers have been blocked by Mojang enforcement in the past. And as far as I am aware, the only reasons most servers have been blocked in the past relating to this guideline is if they sell unbans or if they have real money payouts. So if we go off that, we can assume that Mojang enforcement only considers a server competitive when they feature those two elements. Now, the other issue is gambling. Right here in the guidelines, it states that all servers, entitlements, and advertising have to be suitable for audiences of all ages, with gambling explicitly mentioned as unsafe and mature content. Well, checking back in on ManaCube's store, and would you look at that, they have a healthy selection of crate and crate keys, otherwise known as loot boxes, which have been demonstrated to have significant correlations with problem gambling, especially amongst underage individuals who generally have a higher degree of impulsivity as well. Now, obviously I don't need to elaborate on why gambling on a Minecraft server is bad, but if gambling is explicitly outlawed by the usage guidelines, then why are so many servers allowed to have it, and furthermore, why are they allowed to be featured on the official Minecraft server list? The vague nature of the guidelines is especially noticeable here, as once again I had to work backwards to figure out what Microsoft really means when they say gambling isn't allowed. When Microsoft mentions that gambling is prohibited, they strictly refer to recreations of real-life gambling mechanisms, for example a roulette table that you would see in a casino, in-game. They only consider game elements gambling if they emulate real-life gambling. There's no loot boxes or crates in a casino, it's not real-life gambling and thus is allowed. The only reason we know this, by the way, is because a server called Origin Realms was actually blocked and forced to remove their casino games like Arcade last year. I also confirmed it in the Discord call we had with some of GamerSafe's staff. So when the guidelines mention gambling is prohibited, they strictly refer to systems of gambling that are present in real life, not loot boxes or crates, which once again, I would like to remind you all, still do have clear links towards problem gambling. Alright, so now that we've cleared up why these servers are allowed to be featured on the official server list, let's talk about why the server list might actually be a good thing, for many reasons you may not expect. As I mentioned earlier, voting websites have existed for a long time, and guess what? They are all utterly terrible. Besides having horror GUIs and a terrible server filter and tag system, they don't actually do their intended job well at all. Voting websites are supposed to allow you to view a variety of servers, big and small, for a variety of game modes. But if you go to one of these sites, almost all the servers on the first page are huge servers which don't even have half of the game modes they claim to have. Furthermore, most of the top servers are only there because they paid exuberant amounts of money. This voting website is not too bad though. In fact, I've heard that the Minecraft server and YouTuber involved here are ones you should definitely join and subscribe to. No pressure, of course. Anyways, this is the big problem with voting websites today. Because they are all designed so poorly, with most servers not even featuring the game modes they claim to have, very few people actually browse them as intended. Most people will just Google Minecraft Skyblock server or Minecraft Lifesteal server and click the first link that shows up and then join one of the first servers featured right at the top of the voting website they clicked on. This means that the only servers which ever see any benefit from these voting websites are the ones listed at the very top, immediately visible. This also means that no smaller server ever really has the chance to get their server out there, as the top slots on these sites can cost as much as $20,000 per month. That's right, per month. And who are the only servers that can afford that? Well, obviously it's the larger pay-to-win ones with unethical monetization, like gambling, that gets hundreds if not thousands of daily players. It's a situation where the rich get richer. It's so difficult for any small or growing server to compete and promote themselves because they just don't have the raw money required to put their name out there. And if you thought that at least the non-paying top slots would be fair, guess again, because for years now, a variety of services have existed where you can pay for botted or fake votes, putting you ahead of other servers who literally don't get enough players each month to even get those votes legitimately. It's costly as well, so guess who's the only ones that can afford it once again? These voting websites are terrible and have been for years, so seeing an official Minecraft server list where not only are there 0 paid slots, but where the default server sorting system is entirely randomized is really amazing. In discussion with GamerSafer, they also informed us that they are prepared to deal with botted votes as well, and have a special system where the votes are separated into 2 categories, verified and unverified votes. The only way to get verified votes is to sign in with your Microsoft account. Any unusual behavior in unverified votes will be investigated, meaning it will be significantly harder to successfully bot your server's votes to the top. The reason the official Minecraft server list is such a good voting website is because it actually makes the playing field even again and allows smaller servers with more ethical monetization the chance to promote themselves without being devoured by the bigger ones. Smaller servers that don't have gambling or maybe even are not pay to win, which don't have the additional funds these large servers do, now finally have a chance to compete. This can only be a really good thing, guys. And you know another reason why the official server list is better than these other terrible voting sites? Well, it's because they actually have a proper application and verification process. You can't just lie about your server, spoof or fake the play account, or claim it has game modes it doesn't, because in order to even get on the list, you have to fill out a 15-minute application where employees of GamerSafer will actually join your server to verify that you aren't lying and that the server complies with the guidelines. This means that people will actually have a reason to browse this site because it's not designed by greedy idiots with a user interface straight out of 2005 and actually functions as intended. Now obviously there are some concerns, which we did discuss with some of the GamerSafer team. The first of which is related to whether or not anybody will actually use the website at all. As I mentioned earlier, very few people actually browse current voting websites. Most just click the first link on Google and join the first servers that show up. From what I've been told by individuals in this business, Google SEO is extremely important for these voting websites, and if the official one doesn't end up ranking highly on Google search, a lot less people are probably going to use it or even discover its existence. From our discussion with GamerSafer, it does seem like the team is well aware of this though, and has plans in the future to ensure that their website is well known and easily accessible or discoverable from Google. The site has only just released, remember, so they need time to build it up. The second issue is related to the badges. Currently there are 4 badges your server can earn. The first badge is called the Builder's Benchmark badge. It's basically just displaying you are compliant with Minecraft's usage guidelines, which virtually all servers on the list have. Then there's the Community Basics badge, another badge which basically all servers have. Next is where we get to the badges which I thought may be problematic. First of all, the Beacons of Safety badge, a badge which you can only get if chat reporting is enabled, amongst some other moderation requirements. And then finally there's the GamerSafer badge, a badge you can only get if you have GamerSafer's special monthly paid plugin, a plugin which adds a variety of server moderation features which people might consider overreaching. What I was initially worried about was that the server list would prioritize servers which have the final 2 badges over other servers, as we've all seen how Mojang is extensively trying to be more and more family friendly these days. However, after our discussion, I'm confident in saying that these badges just provide additional options for players looking for specific servers that may be more child-friendly, and they won't impact other servers on the list. Most servers don't even have the last 2 badges I mentioned, and I personally think that as long as such servers aren't given increased priority, it's perfectly fine. The third and final issue I have is more so an issue with Mojang's guidelines themselves. As we've talked about earlier, Mojang has a zero tolerance policy for gambling, but certain mechanics which don't look like gambling seem to be allowed. When my server was being reviewed to go on the official server list, one of the things which was brought up was a player-made dispenser diamond casino which was in their marketplace stall. This was mentioned as something Mojang or Microsoft might not like or will be concerned about, even though it's entirely player-run and created, involving no real money at all. Now, as of making this video, my server's application is still in progress, so we don't know if we have been accepted or not yet, but if my server gets declined for this, whereas servers with actual harmful gambling are allowed on the official server list scot-free, that's going to raise some serious red flags for me. We will see, I guess, but Microsoft's vague and seemingly lax approach to the gambling that runs rampant in the game's biggest servers is an ever-growing concern for me. During our discussion with GamerSafer, that is something I did bring up, and they did mention they are actively aware of it and in discussion with certain individuals about it, so things may improve down the line. And, related to this, another issue my server had when being reviewed was this player's map art in their market stall. Apparently this might cause some concern for younger players, and we may have to look over this to see if it's allowed. If my server is somehow forced to remove such simple things like inoffensive swearing and language on map arts, which are artistic and creative expressions that offend and hurt nobody, that's also going to be a big red flag for me. Now, we do need to keep in mind that the individuals reviewing servers who work for GamerSafer aren't the ones employing these rules. They are merely trying to ensure that our server is considered compliant by Mojang and are trying to help ensure we don't have issues. So it's not their fault at all, but at the end of the day, this is a server list made in partnership with Mojang and Microsoft, and as such, Mojang and Microsoft need to be criticized for their shortcomings as well. So what's in the future for the official server list? Well, we don't know for sure, but one thing was clear from our discussion, and that's the fact that it's still very early days and they have a lot planned. One thing I brought up was if there was potential plans to integrate or embed the server list into Minecraft itself, or maybe the Minecraft launcher, similar to Fortnite, and here was their response.
Are there any sort of plans in the far future at least to somehow embed or connect the voting website within of the Minecraft client or maybe the launcher itself?
We cannot disclose this.
Cannot disclose it? Okay, fair enough.
I can say that our partnership with Mojang is doing very nicely.
Take that as you will, of course. Personally, like I mentioned, I think that overall the official server list is a good thing that will only benefit the Minecraft multiplayer landscape, helping smaller servers, non-pay-to-win servers, and more ethically monetized servers to finally compete with the larger established ones. Overall, we need to give it some time to come to an appropriate conclusion, but I am optimistic. I hope you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, thank you all so much for watching.